Hi everyone, we're going to be learning about interquartile range, and they actually will say IQR as an abbreviation. That's your interquartile range. And what we're going to do to find our interquartile range is first you have to make sure that you have your data set in order from least to greatest. Once you have that, you first need to find the median. And you're going to notice that we're always going to be finding the median. So if we're going to look for our median, we're going to take our least and our greatest and kind of check them off, and then keep checking off our pairs. And it looks like, what did I do wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. So it looks like, oh, I can't check it off. That's what my issue is. Okay, so it looks like it's right smack there. So our median, if you recall, we want to do 28 plus 30, and then we want to divide by 2. So we're going to say 58 divide by 2, and we should get 29. So our median is 29. So the next thing is we need to find our first quartile and our third quartile. And actually, our second quartile is also considered the median. I'm just going to put a Q there. All right, so if you ever hear, if they ever say the second quartile, that represents the median. Okay, so we're going to look for our first quartile, which is pretty much the median again, but it's of the lower half. So your first quartile is your median of your lower half. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 18, your 28, and if you notice, your median is 29, which is right here. All right, so it's all the data you have below your median. So since your median is 29, you're going to go in pairs, and it looks like this right here is your median of your lower half. So that means your first quartile is 22. So that's our first quartile. Okay, so then our third quartile is the median of your upper half. So you're going to look again, and remember 29 is your median or your second quartile. So your third quartile is the median of your upper half of your data set. So we're going to check off our pairs and 31, 36. So it looks like our third quartile is 32. All right, so we have all the information we need, and in order to find the interquartile range, all you're doing is taking your third quartile and subtracting it from your first quartile. But in order to do that, you always have to find the median first, okay, or the second quartile. So your third quartile is 32, and your first quartile is 22. So your interquartile range is 10. Now, if you notice, this is with an even number of data set. We're going to now do an odd number of data set. Okay, so here is our odd number of data set. We're still going to do the same thing. We're going to look, we want to find the IQR, the interquartile range. So in order to do that, we're going to have to find the median first, which if you remember, our median is also considered our second quartile. Okay, so we're going to start from our ends, and we're going to keep on taking our pairs till we get to the end. And what's great about the odd number data set is that you're going to go directly to your median, and our median is 33. So we don't need to add the middle 2 and divide by 2 because we get an exact number. But here is here's what you have to remember. When you have an odd number of data set, if you remember what I said, we need to find our first quartile and our third quartile. And in order to do our first quartile, if you remember the definition, it is to find the median of the lower half below the median of the second quartile. So if our median is actually one of our data sets, you are not including it when you're finding your median of your lower half, okay? So for this one, you are not including 33. So that means 2 and 32 are pairs. So that means this right here is my first quartile. So 26 is my first quartile. So third quartile is the same thing. You cannot include the 33 since this is our median. So our median is 33. So we're going to take our pairs, and it looks like 34 is our third quartile. Okay. So then we're going to take our third quartile, subtract it from our first quartile. So our third quartile is 34. First quartile is 26. So our interquartile range is going to be 8. And that's my answer. So I want you to take a look here. If you remember what I said, because this is the median, it is not included when you're finding the first quartile and the third quartile. If I go back to our previous one when we had our even set, 29 was our median. Well, if you look, 29 is smack in between 28 and 30. So 28 wasn't our median, so that's why we included 28 in our first quartile. 30 is also included in our third quartile because 30 is not our median, 29 is. So whatever your median is, you cannot include it when you're finding the first quartile or the third quartile.